Wouldn't it be nice if our posts on Instagram would just auto post? Wouldn't it be nice if our posts on Instagram would just magically appear? While we can't get them to magically create themselves, you can actually batch schedule and then have them magically appear by using an app like Later. This is a demo of my favorite scheduling app, Later, for the people who are in my webinar, Instagram Marketing for Small Businesses with SCORE. If you were there, it was so nice to have you there, and I'm so glad you're here as well. I'm going to start by giving you an overview of what you're looking at. Then I'm going to show you how to actually use the Later app to schedule your posts. This is the screen you're going to have if you open the Later app on your desktop. As you may remember from the webinar, it is an app that works on your phone as well as on your desktop. I love that because I usually capture my content on my phone, my videos or my photos. I will frequently edit them on my phone on an app like CapCut or with Touch Retouch. And then I want to actually do my posting on the computer because as a 48-year-old, I prefer typing with my entire hands, not with my thumbs. So that's part of why I really love using an app like this, in addition to the fact that I can set it and forget it and have things posting without me thinking about having to take care of it every single day. So this is the screen you'll first see when you show up on the Later app. We've got a weekly calendar of when things will schedule. We've got the media library right here. Now up here, we've got the week view. There's a month view, a list view. I never use either of those. And then there's the preview, which I definitely use. So let's click on that for a second. This is a reflection of what you should be seeing on your phone on your feed. It's not going to be an exact replica because like my pinned posts don't show at the top of this feed, and my archived posts will sometimes show here when they don't on my feed. But basically, this is what you're looking at. What this is useful for is that I can actually drag my content directly into here and move them around so that I can aesthetically plan out my feed so that it looks pretty. That's particularly important if you're going for a very beautiful feed. When I was an interior designer, I did that a lot because aesthetics were a big part of the brand. Now that I'm a coach, I don't use that feature nearly as much because I'm posting a lot more impulsively because the aesthetics don't matter as much. But let me show that to you first. So I can literally drag my content into this screen. I'm just going to drag random content in. Okay. And let's say that I also had this one. Now I'm going So I'm going to drag some random content in. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Let's say I didn't like the order these were in. Right here on this screen, I can move them around so that I like the order in which they'll post. Now, when are these going to post? You'll see that back on the weekly view. I'm going to save the changes. And you can see it in a list right here. This is when it has automatically posted them. Or if I go over to the week view, these are now new posts. Now the week view has these pink rectangles on it, which are a fabulous feature of Later. Those are Later telling me when people mostly engage with my posts. So if I'm taking the time to be strategic, I will obviously move those to when they will actually be more likely to be engaged with. As long as I keep them in the same order, then if I go back to the preview mode, it's not going to change what I created here. But obviously, if I put this one here, it's going to show up after this post because that's how time works. So you want to make sure that if you care about the aesthetics, you're using the preview mode to make sure things are still in the order in which you want them to be, and the week mode to make sure that you're moving them to where you want them to be. Now, when you first get Later, these pink rectangles are not going to show up. It needs some data first, so you need to be posting and posting kind of regularly for it to figure this out. And then once you're ready for that, or if you want it to refresh that, you can click the settings button and then you can recalculate. There's a button right here to recalculate. You also have to make sure that this is toggled on. So if you're not seeing those pink rectangles and you've been posting for a little while, make sure this is toggled on and then occasionally refresh it to make sure that it's still using updated information. Again, that was right here on the settings button. So that's how we use the preview mode. The preview mode is really about saying what you want in what order aesthetically. I, these days, spend most of my time here on the week mode, and let me go to the next week, post things when I want to post them because I'm not too worried about the aesthetics. So let's move this one to here and this one to here, and let's bring in some new content. Now, as I said, I can bring in content into my media library from my phone or right here on my desktop. So here I've got a video. I can just drag and drop it. Here I have a static photo to drag and drop. And then in this folder, I created 9 different images that I'm going to use in a carousel. So I select all of them, I drag them over, and all of those are now in my media library. Let's start with a static post. So I take this picture and I bring it to where I want it to post. You're going to notice in this case, I got a warning. It says this is too tall for Instagram. So Reels are a longer and skinnier format than posts, which are shorter and fatter. Nice thing is, if you're here, you don't have to worry about thinking about it. It will tell you there's a problem. You can click Edit the Image. Then you can just say Instagram Portrait, adjust what it's going to focus on, and update the image. Easy peasy. Once you're here, this is where it gets really easy to type like an adult. I'm here on my computer and I can write my captions. In addition, I can add my hashtags, or here's a later feature, you can go to saved captions where you can have pre-created captions that you want to use over and over again. I like those for saving hashtags. So let's say I click this one, 15 years now I help designers. By clicking on that, if I scroll over here, it populated with what I'd already written. This is just like having a template in your emails. In this case, I wrote an actual caption celebrating 17 years of helping folks create their happy place, and it has hashtags that go with that caption. I don't tend to use these captions very often. I tend to be very organic in what I write, but I do love that I don't have to rethink about my hashtags every single time I post. You'll notice there's also a hashtag suggestions button. I have not found this very useful. While I can come over here and write something like interior design and then say suggest, I don't find that these often go with what I'm actually talking about. You might have more success than me in the industry that you're in, but this isn't a feature that I use very often. Once you've got your caption written and your hashtags added, you also have a whole bunch of other things you can do right here in this interface. You could add your first comment. There are a lot of people who like to put their hashtags in the first comment to keep their captions clean. I don't think the algorithm really cares. And some people like to put their first comment down so that it kind of looks like the feed is active. Again, I don't think it tricks the algorithm, but you do you. You can also, this is very important, add a post to link in bio page. If you were in the webinar, you'll remember me talking about distributors. And that's where instead of just having one link that you can send people to, you can have many links. Be careful not to have too many or you'll overwhelm people and they won't click anything. But in my case, I use link in bio because it's attached to later. If I come here and add any URL, like my website, seriouslyhappy.com, then this post is going to show up in the distributor when they click my link in bio, and it will take them to whatever URL or website address I had put in there, or a landing page, for example. I can also add my location. Adding your location is a really smart idea for local SEO. If you have a local business, like you're a housekeeper who works in a certain city, put your location on your posts always. It's good for SEO. You can tag people. This is important if you're trying to shout out somebody else's work and give them credit, or if you are, why else would you want to do that? Well, for example, if you wanted me to celebrate your post, you could tag me in it. I actually like engaging like that, but don't do that willy-nilly. Not everybody just wants to have themselves showing up all over the place. You can tag people. You can also tag people like I talked about in the webinar, and you can invite collaborators right here. The thing to know is that if you're editing directly on Instagram, when you go to tag people and you start typing in their username, it will help populate it. It will help you find that username. That's not true in later. So you need to know what the whole username actually is. If we go to the internet, it's very important that you realize that my name is not what we're talking about when we're saying tag or collaborate. We want the Instagram user handle. For me, that's not Rebecca West, that's Be Seriously Happy, all one word. You can see it up here too, instagram.com/Be Seriously Happy. Be Seriously Happy is what you would actually want to put here if you were trying to tag me, okay? So I can tag another account of my own, Happy Starts at Home, save the user tag, and voila. Oops. Then so I can tag myself. Another account that I have, Happy Starts at Home. Make sure you get it right or it will not work. And then save the user tag, click done, and now somebody is tagged. Same thing will work with collaborations. Then you can schedule the post. Now this is important. You can have it auto-publish on the date and time of your choosing if it's a paid account. If it's not a paid account, it's only going to give you the option to say send notification. So that means on the date and time you've chosen, your phone is going to send you a notification that says, hey, you need to do a couple of things so that this post actually goes live. It works pretty well, but it's not as automatic as auto-publishing. Now, when I get to the carousels, there is actually a reason I will choose send notification instead. I'll tell you about that when we get to the carousel. Once you're done with all of that, and by the way, you can add alt text here, which is a really good SEO and accessibility idea as well. Then you click schedule post and you're done. And you're done. So there it is right there. I can adjust it very easily if I wanted it to be right at that time. And I can also do that up here and get very specific about the time that I want it to post and the date that I want it to post. So that's a static post. You can do the exact same process with a reel. So let's say I grab this guy and I put it right there. It's populating itself, and I would go through exactly the same thing. This one's not showing me a preview right here, but if I push play, you can see that it is actually there. Aside from the fact that I'm dragging in a different kind of content, there is nothing else different about getting this one ready, except for that now it's saying post type, reel, or story. I should have probably mentioned that earlier. So if we go back to the static post, my post type is feed or story. So you can actually schedule your stories from the Later app as well. I don't usually do that. My stories are usually very in the moment. Generally speaking, I'm going to use the default, which is sending it to my feed. On the reel, bring that back in, get that populated. There it is. you'll see that instead of saying feed, it's saying reel or story, okay? So nothing you have to worry about. I don't pay attention to that. It's just choosing what I usually want anyway. Same thing, write your caption, do your commenting, add your link in bios, add your location, tag your people, invite your collaborators, whatever you're going to do. You'll notice there's a new thing right here. On Instagram, your reels are technically kept in a different place than your static posts. I want them in both places, so I always keep this toggled on so that my reels are going to show in my regular profile grid as well as my reel grid. This is where we can really get into overthinking things. Try not to, especially as you're getting used to using your tools. Okay, so let's say I had done all of that work. I say schedule post. It's there. Maybe I bump it around a little bit. And again, if we go back to the preview, you're going to start seeing that we've added these posts as well. Now, this one was actually self-scheduled at a later time. So the two that I just scheduled are showing up here. I can right now still move these around. The nice thing is that it's not going to put them at weird times. It's just going to swap the times that they were at. So let me show that to you again. This one right now, this orange one, is saying it's going to post November 28 at 9:55, and my the photo of me with my book is November 26 at 9:55. If I swap those, it's the same times, same days, just different posts. So that makes it really, really easy to reorganize things. Save your changes and move forward. Real quick note here, you might notice that this one is blank. That's that reel, that video that I put in. That means that my cover is just being chosen from the very first screen of the reel, which doesn't actually have any data. So I would need to go in and adjust the cover of that, which is beyond the point of this particular demo. Know that that is solvable. All right, last but not least is a carousel. So with a carousel, as I said in the webinar, it can be a series of static posts, or it can be a series of videos, or a combination of those two things. You're going to start by grabbing whatever you want to be first. Oops, let's get to where things will be in the future. So you're going to take whatever's going to be first, just like you would if you were doing a reel or doing a static post. Then you're going to click Change Media, which allows you to bring more media in. So I'm going to drag all of the posts in. Now you'll notice that it's kind of hard to tell what's supposed to be in what order, but I'm going to be able to check that in just a second. So I drag them in the order I think they're supposed to be in, and then I can see that I've got 8 posts right here, which is one too few, but I'm not going to overthink that for the purposes of this demo. But you want to make sure that you've got all the ones that you had created and dragged in. Then you can click this little arrow button to scroll through just like your viewers will when they're looking at your carousel. That way you can make sure that they are actually in the right order. If they are, you save your changes, you do all the same stuff that we were talking about before. You'll notice that this time it's definitely going to post to your regular feed. Not a problem. It's not asking you whether you want it on your feed as well, because it's not a reel. The main difference, or the main thing to know that I choose to do with the thing that I choose to do differently with carousels as compared to the thing that I choose to do differently with carousels than reels or posts is that instead of auto-publishing, I do click send notification. And there's a very specific reason for this. That's because now you can add music that covers all of those posts. As they're flipping through, one song will keep playing. Now, I really like that feature, but it's not a feature you can add in later. So by telling it to send me a notification, I can add that on when I go to post it. Again, how you do that is beyond the point of this reel, but know that that is an option. You'll also see that I've got an error right here. There's something going on with my images. So I'm going to say edit image, update image. Nope, let's see. It's this red one right here. Edit image. Update image. And now it's happy. I don't know why it was mad about that particular one. Schedule your post. And voila. That's the nuts and bolts of later. Okay, so to recap, I love it because I can populate the media library from my phone or from my desktop. I can schedule my posts so that they auto-publish or at least auto-notify me. I can type with my grown-up hands on a computer, my captions and my hashtags. I can tag people and do all of the other things, including adding my links in bio, which are very important if I'm like writing an article and I want to give people a way to get to my article. Because as I said in the webinar, unless you're paying for a verified account or you're doing an ad, you cannot put links in your posts. There's only one place to put a link, and that's in your bio. And so we've got to do these workarounds to allow people to connect with us off of the platform, which makes sense because all Instagram or any of these platforms want is to keep us there as long as they possibly can. So I love it because you can bring the media in from both places. You can type like a grown-up, you can auto schedule, you can auto post. And one other thing you should probably know is that you can do this across lots of different apps from later. I only use it for Instagram and for my LinkedIn profile, but as you can see, you can also do it for Pinterest, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and whatever the ghost is. Snapchat? If you are, whatever level you sign up for will determine how many posts you're allowed to post in a given month. Okay, so you can see I have 30 LinkedIn posts left that I could post this month, but over on Instagram, I only have 22 Instagram posts left that I can post. Quite frankly, for the amount of times that I actually post every month, that's plenty for me, whatever level I'm on. So pay attention to all of those things. Try out the free version first. It's always good to get your head around an app before you give them all of your money or sign up for a subscription. But I really do like that auto scheduling feature. It's one of the best features of a scheduling app, so you might as well make use of it if you can. I hope this helped, and I hope this gives you hope that maybe posting on Instagram doesn't have to take up the best part of your life. I hope this helped, and I hope this gives you some hope that posting on Instagram doesn't have to take up the greater part of your life. If you liked it, please comment below and share your favorite aha moment from this demo. And share it with your friends. See you at the next webinar, and if you're looking to find me, of course you know where to find me, seriouslyhappy.com or on Instagram @BeSeriouslyHappy. See you around.